Hi everyone. In this recording, I'm going to cover assertion and soft assert. What is assertion? So when I use this word assert, I basically mean that I want to verify something. So if I'm saying that I want to assert two things to be equal, that means I am making sure that two things are equal. Or if I'm saying assert true, alright, so I'm checking if something's true or not. I'll just go through the slide quickly. Asserts help us to verify the conditions of the test and decide whether the test has failed or passed. Okay, so the next line says a test is considered successful only if it gets executed without throwing an exception. This means that if you are asserting something, and if it fails, if your assertion fails, let's say you're asserting two things to be equal and they are not equal, that means assert equal will fail. Hence, your test case will also fail. This is what this line is saying. A test is considered successful only if it gets executed without throwing an exception. And when will it throw an exception? When the assertion fails. So you'll get an assertion exception. Alright, so that's an example wherein I'm checking if the title of Google is Google or not. So I'm going to google.com and then I'm fetching the title and I'm checking it with Google. If that's same, my assertion will pass and hence my test case will also pass. If my assertion fails, my test case will also fail. So let's go to Eclipse and then we will come back here. Okay, so I've already created a TestNG class called test assertions. So I'm going to quickly add test cases here. Okay, @test public void, I will say test assert. And then I'm going to add @before class, for which I've opened this so that I can copy this. Control V. So what I'm doing here, I'm just instantiating the Chrome driver and doing some basic steps. So here I need a web driver. Get the web driver here. Okay, Control Shift and O. Control Shift and O, or Command plus Shift and O. What does it do? It actually gets the required interfaces or classes that you need. Alright, so WebDriver is missing, so I just pressed Control plus Shift plus O. Okay, that's done. Delete. And in here, what I'm gonna do is I will say driver.get http://www.google.com. Alright, and then I'm gonna fetch the title, so I'll say string actual title is equal to driver.getTitle. Alright, and then I've got an expected title, so I'll say string expected title is equal to Google. Alright, and how do you check for the title? I'll take you to the page. So this is Google in front of me, and when you look at the tab, you actually get the title of the page. So no doubt the title of google.com is Google. So I'll go back here and I'll simply say assert. Now assert, and then we will get this. So if you can see here, I'm using class assert class from TestNG.assert and not from JUnit. So make sure you're taking the one which is correct. So I will say assert.assert equals, because I'm checking if the titles are same or not, actual and expected one. So I will check with this. And then the actual one is this. Control C, Control V, Control C, and Control V. So I'm just checking both of them to be equal. If my assertion is passed, my test case will also pass. If my assertion fails, my test case will also fail. And I'll simply say sysout. The titles are same. Control save. And then I'm going to create, this is before class, @before class. Okay, we can also get @after class here. So @after class public void quit browser, and then I will say driver dot quit. I'll go up, and here I'll just put an asterisk so that all the annotations are included. So that's the code right in front of you. I'm going to execute this. So where's my assert class? This is test assertions. Right click, run as TestNG test. You can choose to run this using XML as well. It's very simple. Alright, so it's happening. Okay, it should open Google, and then it closed Google and my test case has passed, and I've got this statement here which says the titles are same. I've got this because my assertion passed. And if I take you back to the class and deliberately fail, I'll just put 1 here. Alright, so the actual one is Google, but I'm expecting 1 Google. Now I'll run it again. Right click, run as TestNG test. Alright, should fetch the title and close it. Okay, now the assertion failed. If you look at the result here, let me expand this for you. Alright, I'll open this also. So if you can see here, this failed because of assertion error. Alright, expected was this but found. Can you see here? Expected was 1 Google but found Google. So my assertion has failed, and hence my test case has also failed. So I will go and show you that here you don't get to see this statement because I had put the statement after the assertion. So if assertion fails, the test case, actually you've got an error. So your test case fails and the execution stops then and there. This is called hard assertion, that your execution stops then and there, and the test case is also marked as fail. Now what is soft assertion? Soft assertion is that even if your assertion fails, I'm not saying the assertion might not fail, even if your assertion fails, then also your execution should continue. That's soft assertion. So we'll talk about that. Let me first of all tell you the common assertions that are used. Alright, commonly used assertions: assert equals overloaded functions. Why have I written overloaded functions? Because if you will, I'll take you again back to Eclipse. See, if I remove this and just say assert, Control X, Control Space, can you see here? Assert equals, there are so many overloaded assert equals with different set of arguments. And then assert not equals, then assert not null, and the other assert statements, other assert methods. Can you see that? That's the reason I've mentioned overloaded functions, so that you know that assert equals comes in different flavors, as in with different arguments. Assert not equals, wherein I'll check that the two things are not equal. Assert false, I'm checking some condition to be false. Assert true, I'm checking some condition to be true. Assert same, I'm checking if two objects are same. Assert null, assert not null. So I'm again checking if some object is null or not null. So these are the commonly used assertions. You can try any assertion that you want in your practice. Let's go to the next slide now. Soft assertion. Soft assert is a class in org.testng.asserts package. Now, a lot of people don't know about soft assert class in TestNG. So that's the reason I've highlighted this. Soft assert, it's a class in this package. So if somebody asks you to do soft assertion using TestNG, you can straight away use this class. And what is soft assertion? If you want your execution to continue even if the assertion fails. When is soft assert used? When an assertion fails, you don't want to throw an exception but record the failure. You will record the failure, but you will not throw an exception or stop the execution. Calling assertAll will cause an exception to be thrown if at least one assertion failed. Alright, so let's understand this. Okay, now let's say Control Z. This is fine. Okay, and I'm gonna name this as test hard assert. I'm renaming it. Okay, and then here I will say @test public void test. Let me put the press and enter. Test soft assert. Okay, now I'll just copy paste this. Control C, Control V, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna remove this. Okay, I'll just say Control Shift and /. The reason is I don't want to quit the browser. Okay, or you can do one more thing. I'll tell you what, we haven't used before method and after method. So just in case you don't want to remove quit browser, what you can do is just replace before class with before method and after method. So what does it do? It'll get executed before and after every test method. So here I'm gonna call Google. Alright, so before this browser gets invoked, and then it'll quit the browser. Same with this test case, test soft assert. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create a class called soft assert, control space. If you can see here, we've got this class. Just say s_assert, which means soft assert. Alright, now I'm gonna come down here to soft assert and I will say s_assert is equal to new soft assert. It's important to instantiate the class, otherwise it'll give you null pointer exception. New soft assert, and here I'm not gonna use assert, I'm gonna use assert. Control C, Control V. Okay, and Control Save. Now I'm deliberately failing the test case. Can you see that? I'm deliberately failing the test case. So let's run this. Right click, run as TestNG test. So first hard assert will run and then soft assert, because there are two test functions in this class. And we've used before method and after method. So before and after each of the test methods, these functions will get invoked. Alright, that was for hard assert. I guess this one's for soft assert. Okay, let's go to the results. If you can see here, hard assert failed, but soft assert passed. See, assertion is failing in both the cases, but this one is marked as fail and showing that assertion, we've got assertion error, but here the assertion failed, but the execution did not stop, and the test case is marked as pass. Can you see here? The titles are same. Now a lot of people might think that this is not a good idea. My test case, my assertion is actually facing. Alright, fine. I don't want to stop the execution, but I do want to mark the test case as failed. The reason is my assertion has failed and it's important for me. And for this reason, we've got this function assertAll in soft assert. So what I'm gonna do here is I'll go back here. Alright, after this I'm gonna say s_assert dot assertAll. Now if I hover mouse on this, it's not giving me the definition here. Let me try and press F2. No, it's not giving here. Never mind. So what assertAll does, it checks which all assertions failed. Even if one assertion fails, it will mark the test case as failed. So make sure that you use it in the end. If you use it in the beginning, or if you use it right here, if you, let's say you're doing more than one assertion and you put it somewhere in between, right? then this will mark the test case as fail, and it will not even execute the next lines of code. So that's the reason we use it in the end, so that once a test case gets executed, it will just simply check which all assertions failed. Even if one assertion fails, it will mark the test case as failed. Alright, so I will run this test case again, and what I can perhaps do is I will just comment this test case for now. We don't want this to happen twice. Alright, we already know that hard assert will anyway fail the test case. Right click, run as TestNG test. The titles are same. Alright, but this time even test soft assert is marked as fail. Why? Because I used assertAll in the end. Because I used this. Now, if you go back here, right, and let's say you're asserting two things. If you're asserting two things, let's say I'm removing this from here, Control X, okay, and then I'm using it here, somewhere in between, and then I'm saying maybe I want to fetch the URL of the page. Okay, I've got the current URL. Let me go there. That's the current URL. Control C. Google. I'm opening google.com. It gets me this. I have to try by printing it. What I'm gonna do here is I'll say s_assert dot assert equals. Okay, and the actual one is current URL, and the expected one is, let's say, this. Okay, which is true. But instead of this, I'm gonna fail this deliberately. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say, let's remove this and put 1 2 3, just like this. I'm failing it deliberately. Control save. That's the expected one, and that's the actual one. And now let's check it. Okay, right click, run as TestNG test. Alright, now if you can see here, I'll take you to console. The print statement is not here. You cannot see that in console. Remember we had given a print statement in the end? The reason is I used assertAll before this assertion. So what it did, it asserted this before, alright, and then it failed the test case and didn't go to the next test case. So it's always a good idea that you put the statement in the end so that the execution completes. Alright, and if you want to make sure that even if the assertion, any of the assertion has failed, you would like to mark the test case as failed. And this statement will do that. So you do Control X from here, delete, and then put it here. It will check which all assertions failed. I'm gonna remove this, Control Save, and then I'll run it again for you all. Run as TestNG test. And you can assert anything. This is just an example. Alright, now you can see titles are same. It's fine here. The test case is marked as fail because the assertion has failed. See, can you see here? This was expected but found this. So one of the assertions have failed, and that's the reason this test case have been marked as failed, just because of using this statement. If you don't use it, you know that test case will be marked as pass. Alright, so that's about soft assertion and hard assertion. Let me go back to the slideshow. Okay, that's exception handling, which we'll cover in the next recording. I hope you understand the difference between hard assert and soft assert, and you can tell anyone the difference between both of them and can use assertions now in TestNG. In the next class, I'll be covering exception handling using expected exception, and I will also tell you what is skip exception. Alright guys, till we meet in the next recording, bye.